You can't see the future, but if the future is exponential, like you and I both believe, then it's very bright. The question is, what's going to happen near term? I don't know the answer to that, but are we sitting here at an all-time high between now and the end of the year? We have 11 and a half months to go, and we have a big halving cycle taking place in April. Could Bitcoin get through the $69,000 level by the end of the year? I believe it will.
Yeah.
Selling will have abated from grayscale, and the machines of Wall Street will be selling this idea to their clients.
Welcome back to Money 101. Anthony Scaramucci, founder of SkyBridge Capital and former White House communications director, recently shared his perspective on Bitcoin's outlook for the upcoming 2024-2025 bull market cycle. With the eagerly anticipated halving event in April approaching, Scaramucci, popularly known as Mouch, believes that this event will unlock exponential growth for Bitcoin and the broader digital asset space. In a recent interview with Tony Edwards of Thinking Crypto, Scaramucci discussed the convergence of two significant events for crypto in 2024. The first event was the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in January. According to Scaramucci, this groundbreaking approval, resulting in some of the most successful ETF launches in history, has left an indelible mark on Bitcoin's trajectory. Despite recent price fluctuations that briefly saw Bitcoin dip below $39,000, Scaramucci is confident that the selling pressure from grayscale is subsiding and significant capital, amounting to tens of billions of dollars, is poised to enter Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. He anticipates these dynamics to gain further momentum in April when the Bitcoin block reward undergoes halving. With these pivotal events in mind, Scaramucci predicts that Bitcoin will not only surpass its previous all-time high of $69,000, but will likely achieve even greater heights before the end of the year. However, he notes that this is his conservative projection for the current market cycle. In earlier interviews, including one with Reuters at the annual World Economic Forum meeting, Scaramucci forecasted a potential Bitcoin price of $170,000 by 2025. In the upcoming segments, we will share excerpts from the interview, along with insights from a bullish Standard Chartered report, suggesting that Ethereum, the leading altcoin by a market cap, could reach $4,000 within the next few months. Stay tuned for more valuable information. To ensure you don't miss any part of today's video, watch until the end, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications for future content. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
I would say something to you that I would hope your viewers and listeners would contemplate. The more homework you do on Bitcoin, the more you go towards Bitcoin. I sort of feel like Bitcoin research and Bitcoin due diligence is a one-way ticket towards Bitcoin. I have yet to find somebody that says, I read everything, I got steeped in the understanding of the code, I got steeped in the understanding of the network and the decentralized nature of the network and the fact that it hasn't been hacked and has been up and running for 14 years. I did all the work and I hate Bitcoin. I have yet to hear anybody do that. So, we'll get there. Jamie's an example of somebody that probably needs to do the homework. Something else is going on, actually. There's pressure on him from regulators. He's got to deal with the Elizabeth Warrens of the world. There's pressure in the system as a traditional finance representative. But listen, you know this and I know this. JP Morgan, as you mentioned, they're an AP on the ETFs for people. They're producing research on Bitcoin. They have their own coin. They have built an element of their blockchain. You can call, if you have an account at JP Morgan in the private bank, and you call them and say, hi, unsolicited, I'd like to buy $25,000, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, something like that. No problem. They'll buy for you and they'll put that CUSIP in your account. You'll sit there with the Blackstone Bitcoin Trust in his JP Morgan account. Coinbase is going to be fine. I think that they are such a big part of the crypto ecosystem, and all of these ETFs are transacting with Coinbase. Coinbase has an interesting lawsuit going on right now vis-a-vis the SEC. It sounds like the judge is very well prepared, asking super smart questions related to that lawsuit. It could come to pass, Tony, where the SEC loses another case. Could you imagine that? I mean, they would have lost the Ripple case. They would have lost the Grayscale case. They'd lose the Coinbase case. I think at that point, it's a little embarrassing for them in terms of the way they're administrating the laws. I think it's prima facie they're acting as politicians and they're being politically influenced more than they are adhering to or following the law. But when you talk about grown-ups in the room, Coinbase will have its market share. JP Morgan, despite the sentiments shared by Jamie Dimon, will have its market share. Goldman has gotten into the mix. And yes, I think that the asset class is growing up. I don't think some of the larger baby companies, to use your analogy, are going to get hurt that badly, because I just think it's just going to be overall growth in the ecosystem. But, you know, the biggest brokerage firms have Bitcoin available as an investment. The wirehouses have approved it for their core portfolios. You know, you could have somebody like BlackRock in their total return portfolio. It's a $2 trillion portfolio. They say, okay, we want a 1% exposure. It's $200 billion in Bitcoin. Just think of the magnitude of that, right? Think about all the road that we have ahead of us, right? I mean, the road to get here, all of these early adapters are being rewarded because it's now going mainstream. But you're just getting started on the mainstream road. You know, to put it into context, there's only 4.5% adoption globally. That's roughly where we were in the middle of 1998 for the internet and Web 1. So just imagine where we'll be in 10 or 15 years. It's an election year. And so I'll say a couple of things. The Stock Trader Almanac, 125 years of election year of observation, 85% of the time the market goes up in an election year. I wouldn't bet against that trend. Secondarily, the Fed has said that they're more or less done raising rates. And it being an election year, and I know they try to be apolitical, they're sort of political, they'll probably start cutting rates. The question is, how much will they cut and when? And I think when they say higher, longer, I just think it's going to be lower, longer. And what do I mean by that? Probably don't cut rates until the second half of the year, and then they cut them pretty quickly. But I think that they'll probably leave people with an impression that they're not cutting them in the first half, and then by June, July, they'll start cutting them. And the market's gone up a lot. I'm talking about the stock market. So if the Fed cuts rates and the market doesn't move a lot, it won't surprise me because it's been anticipatory. Same way Bitcoin went up a lot into the ETF news. Once it got announced, it traded a little bit sloppily. But I do believe that interest rates are the physical gravity of financial assets. You lower rates, you're going to increase the value of those assets. It's just the way it works. So lower rates will mean a higher Bitcoin. Lower rates will mean a higher Ethereum. And so it'll be generally a good thing. Will it happen instantaneously? No. But will it happen? Sure. Remember, these things are what Buffett once said, the markets are a voting machine or a popularity contest in the short term, but they're a weighing machine over long periods of time where they weigh the fundamentals of something. And so you could be sitting here with lower interest rates and Bitcoin's set up over 100,000. Not impossible.
Trump did, we talked about it earlier, make some statements about CBDCs. I want to get your thoughts in general because there seems to be a growing need for this in the United States, or a stablecoin version.
I actually think that you can have a stablecoin. Doesn't come with all the bells and whistles of privacy invasion. And why not just go with the stablecoin? Moreover, Jeremy Allaire just put out a white paper describing the benefits of having a stablecoin versus a central bank digital currency. It's less threatening to the world to have a stablecoin. And in some ways, it may maintain or improve the dollar's supremacy. So, you know, I'm not buying that we need to have a central bank digital currency. By the way, we'll survive if we get one, but I don't think we will get one. There's still like libertarian elements in the country. And I can just tell you that they were talking about dollarization over the blockchain in 2017 when I was in the White House. Now, granted, I was only there for a short period of time, but the Fed in July of 2017 produced a white paper talking about putting the dollar up on the blockchain. Nothing happened. It's 7 years later. So we'll see, but I think the first move is going to probably be to use Jeremy Allaire at Circle and the USDC. Just like we have a lot of banks, I don't see how we wouldn't end up with a lot of stable coins. Now, having said that, will the stable coins make themselves interoperable with each other? And I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that we get legislation that creates that type of clarity. So if you have a stable coin backed in US dollar or an Algorand and you need to flip it into an Ethereum-based stable coin, I hope we are able to make that happen for people without a lot of cost or a lot of fanfare. So, I think it happens. And I think the future's bright. And if you're at 4% adoption or 4.5% adoption right now, Tony, imagine what the world looks like at 9% adoption.
While the notion of having various dollar-pegged stablecoins, rather than mandating a central bank digital currency like in some other nations, may seem attractive, caution is advised, as experts like Whitney Webb caution against viewing it as anything other than a ploy to deceive the American public. These stablecoins, she warns, will fall entirely under the control of powerful figures in the banking industry, essentially granting them authority over every facet of our lives. Given this potential scenario, it is imperative to approach the situation with vigilance and consistently question the narratives being presented. Share your thoughts on this matter in the comments section below. As mentioned earlier, Standard Chartered recently released a note containing exceptionally optimistic Ethereum predictions. According to the note published on Tuesday, researchers anticipate the approval of spot Ethereum ETFs by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in May, triggering a substantial surge for the leading altcoin. Jeff Kendrick, the head of crypto research at the bank, highlighted that the SEC has until May the 23rd to decide on spot Ethereum ETF applications from VanEck and RK21 shares. Kendrick anticipates the SEC's announcement on that specific date, mirroring the approach taken with spot Bitcoin ETFs. In the event of approval for both applications, along with proposals from BlackRock, Fidelity, and Grayscale to convert their Ethereum trust into a spot ETF, Kendrick predicts Ethereum prices could soar to as high as $4,000, coming close to the altcoin's all-time high but stopping about $700 short. Moreover, Kendrick forecasts that Ethereum is likely to experience a less pronounced sell-off post-approval compared to Bitcoin. In the note, he points out that Bitcoin faced a sell-off as investors exited the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, whereas Grayscale's Ethereum Trust represents a smaller portion of the altcoin's total market cap, compared to Bitcoin in GBTC. These factors, according to Kendrick, could make Ethereum less susceptible than Bitcoin to a sell-off after receiving approval. Share your thoughts on the likelihood of the SEC approving spot Ethereum ETFs in May in the comments section. Additionally, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.